The way they are going now, Chude.
Yes. So there's a possibility you may not be a candidate based on how.
Not even a candidate. I might not even be alive.
What happens when one of Nigeria's most prominent opposition leaders says he may not even be alive before the next presidential election? Is this simply political rhetoric, warning, an expression of fear, or a reflection of growing concerns about Nigeria's democratic space? These questions have sparked intense debate across the country after Peter Obi made a remarkable statement during an interview. Today, we separate facts from allegations, examine Nigeria's constitutional protections, compare similar situations in other democracies, and ask one important question. Is Nigeria creating enough room for opposition politics, or is political mistrust becoming even deeper ahead of 2027? Hello everyone, welcome back. If you are interested in fact-based political analysis, constitutional issues, and the future of Nigeria's democracy, you are in the right place. Today's discussion is not about choosing political sides. It's about examining one statement that has generated nationwide debate and understanding what it could mean for Nigeria's democracy journey. Yes, of course, Peter Obi is the former governor of Anambra State and the Labour Party's presidential candidate in the 2023 general election. Just in case you don't know, he is also the presidential candidate for the National Democratic Congress NDC in the 2027 general election. Peter Obi remains one of Nigeria's most influential opposition figures. Consistently, he's commenting on governance, economic policy, insecurity, and accountability. Recently, during an interview with media personality Chude, with Chude, Obi made comments that immediately attracted public attention. According to Obi, not even a candidate, I might not even be alive. Every single thing I do for a living, this government is frustrating it. Deliberately so. There is even a possibility if they have the opportunity, I will not be alive. Those are his very own words. The interview clip was later shared on Chude Video's Verify S account. Those are Peter Obi's words. They are his claims. At this time, reflected in the source material provided, there have been no publicly verified evidence presented to substantiate the allegation that anyone is plotting against his life. Likewise, any assessment of internet remains an allegation unless supported by evidence or official findings. That distinction is extremely important. What could Peter Obi have meant? Political statements often carry more than one meaning. Some observers interpret Obi's comments literally as expressing genuine concerns for his safety. Others believe he was speaking more broadly about what he sees as increasing political pressure on opposition voices. His statement also mentioned what he described as deliberate frustration of his activities. Again, that is an allegation. Without independent evidence or official confirmation, it cannot be presented as an established fact. What is undeniable, however, is that the remarks have opened discussions about political tolerance and democratic competition in Nigeria. Nigeria operates a constitutional democracy built on multi-party competition. The opposition is not an enemy of the state. It is an essential part of democratic governance. The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, guarantees several rights that are directly relevant here. These include freedom of expression under Section 39, freedom of peace, assembly, peaceful assembly and association under Section 40, freedom of movement under Section 41, the right to participate in politics through political parties under the constitutional democratic framework. These protections apply not only to ordinary citizens, but also to opposition politicians. In any democracy, governments are expected to tolerate criticism. Likewise, opposition figures are expected to criticize government policies within the boundaries of the law. Democracy functions best when disagreement is protected rather than suppressed. Well, let's look at the fact versus the allegations. Let's pause for an important distinction. Verify fact. Peter Obi made a statement during the interview. The interview clip was shared publicly. He alleged that government actions are frustrating him. He said he might not be alive by 2027. Not verified. There's no publicly available evidence providing a coordinated plan against his life. There is no official finding established that the federal government is deliberately targeting him. Motive not Motive cannot be assumed without evidence. This decision matters because democracy depends on evidence, not assumptions. Now let's look at the historical context. Peter Obi is not the first Nigerian opposition politician to complain about intimidation or political pressure. Over the years, politicians from different parties have made similar allegations. There have been complaints involving security agencies, invitation, restrictions, or political gathering, alleged misuse of state institutions, claims of political motivated persecution. Importantly, these allegations have come from politicians across different administrations, not only under one government. Some allegations were investigated, some were dismissed, others remain publicly disputed, or politically disputed if you like. Nigeria's political history shows that accusations of persecution often increase as elections approach. That reality makes independent institutions even more important. The government perspective. Every balanced discussion requires hearing the other side. At the time of this analysis, there is no official response reference in the source material, specifically addressing Obi's latest remarks. Successive governments, including the current administration, have generally maintained that Nigeria remains a democratic country where constitutional rights are protected. Government officials have also argued on various occasions that security agencies act according to the law and that investigations involving politicians are based on legal processes rather than political affiliation. Whether critics accept those explanations is another matter, but fairness requires acknowledging that government often reject accusations of political persecution unless supported by evidence. The opposition perspective. Supporters of Peter Obi argue that opposition voices should be able to organize, campaign, travel, and criticize government policies without feeling intimidated. They believe democracy requires a level playing field where no political actor is unfairly disadvantaged. Many also argue that even the perception of intimidation can weaken public confidence in democratic institutions. For them, Obi's comments reflect broader concerns about political freedom. Again, those remain political opinion unless supported by objective evidence. What do constitutional analysts say? Constitutional analysts and scholars often make one important point. Democracy does not merely require elections, it requires trust. Citizens must believe that opposition parties can campaign freely, security agencies remain politically neutral, courts remain independent, electoral institutions are impartial. When those perceptions weakens, democratic legitimacy also weakens. Sometimes perception becomes almost as politically significant as reality. That is why transparency matters. Well, let's compare Nigeria with other democracies. Nigeria is not alone. Around the world, opposition politicians have sometimes claimed they were being targeted. In countries such as Brazil, Pakistan, Turkey, and even the United States, political leaders have at different times alleged selective investigations, unfair treatment, or politically motivated legal action. The responses have varied. In some cases, courts ruled against government. In other, government insisted that legal actions were legitimate. The lesson is simple. Healthy democracy depends on institutions that are strong enough to convince both supporters and critics that justice is impartial. Without that, confidence, political tensions often escalate. What does this mean for 2027? Nigeria's next general election is still ahead, yet political narrative are already taking shape. Statements like Obi's could have several consequences. Supporters may become more energized. Political tensions could increase. Public debate about democratic freedoms may intensify. International observers may pay closer attention to Nigerian political environment. Most importantly, trust in institutions could become one of the biggest issues of the 2027 election, because elections are not judged only by voting day. They are judged by the entire political environment leading up to them. The bigger question is, this discussion is ultimately bigger than Peter Obi. Today's opposition could become tomorrow's government. Today's government could become tomorrow's opposition. That is why democratic rule must protect everyone equally. If citizens begin believing that opposition voices cannot participate freely, confidence in democracy may erode, even without conclusive proof of wrongdoing. Conversely, allegations should also be scrutinized carefully and supported by evidence before they are accepted as fact. Democracy requires both accountability and responsibility. So do you, my audience. Peter Obi's remarks have undoubtedly reignited an important national conversation. The verified fact is that he made this statement publicly. The allegations themselves remain unproven unless supported by evidence or confirmed through official investigations. What matters now is how Nigeria's democratic institutions respond, not with emotion, but with transparency, fairness, and respect for the rule of law. Whether you support the APC, the Labour Party, the PDP, the NDC, the NNPP, or any other political movement, one principle should unite everyone. A democracy is strongest when every lawful political voice can speak freely, compete fairly, and seek power peacefully. Because democracy is not stated or is not tested when everyone agrees. It is tested when people strongly disagree and still trust the institutions that govern them. So to you, my audience, if you found this analysis useful, subscribe for more evidence-based political reporting, constitutional analysis, and fact-check news. Now, I'd like to hear from you. Do you believe Nigerian democracy institution? Do you believe that Nigeria's democratic institutions are strong enough to protect both the government and the opposition equally as the 2027 elections approach? Let's keep the conversation respectful, factual, and focus on ideas, not personalities. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one.